Hi, I'm Jordan Rosinski, and today I'm going to be talking about reusable code, the future of software systems. In 2019, one of the most reused code snippets on GitHub, with over 6,000 copies and embeddings, was discovered to have a code error. The code in question, used to convert byte counts into human readable form, estimated its file size inaccurately, leaving a small fix to what could have been a major security risk. Reusing previously written material is not a new concept. However, with recent advancements in AI, such as ChatGPT, and the wide accessibility of the internet for coding websites like GitHub or Stack Overflow, many are questioning the ethics of using open source code. Undoubtedly, using online sources has its advantages, ranging from saving time and reducing project costs to the accessibility of reliable code built by a community of well-researched developers. Despite these pros, there are several cons, such as security risks caused by insecure code and legal troubles due to licensing infringement. Altogether, reusing code is a commonly used tactic by several software developers. Regardless, many concerns do arise on whether this is the right practice. What is reusable code? Reusable code is when you're using previously written code for new software projects. Examples of this can be seen with open online sources such as GitHub, where people push and pull previously written projects, Stack Overflow, where many software developers answer and ask questions on code errors and how to improve their code, and ChatGPT, which allows for a more personalized response. So, why is reusable code so commonly used? To start, there are multiple advantages to using code that is found online. A major benefit is the reduction in effort and time when working on projects. For instance, developers typically spend around 30 to 50% of their time in the debug process. What is debugging? It includes fixing errors, adjusting issues and functions, and validating software. Debugging is an uphill task that takes up a lot of development time, specifically in comparison to writing new code, which can feel to be more productive as it draws on creating rather than fixing. So, what can reusable code do? This is where reusable code comes into shine. Websites like Stack Overflow can provide examples of similar code snippets that can be repurposed to outline how a function should be written. However, in the past couple of years, open source AI like ChatGPT has become more popular, serving as an example of how large language models should respond directly to questions with more suitable and customized approach. In comparison to using online programming forums where time is wasted searching for an example that could be considered similar. This fast-paced response replaces countless hours and second opinions that would have been exerted on only little errors. This diagram is a prime exemplar of how debugging takes up a large portion of the software process. The diagram shows an estimation of time in software development, with requirements only taking 1% of time, design and architecture taking 3% of time, coding taking 7% of the time, which includes building the functions and seeing what works and what doesn't, testing taking only 15% of the time, and deployment and maintenance, which includes debugging, taking to 30 to 100% of the time. This is why so many software developers find it so beneficial to reuse code. It saves time, and then it therefore saves money. Accounting to over $100 billion annually, the cost of debugging, testing, and verification consists of around 50 to 75% of the entire budget for software development projects. As one of the highest sectors of funding, the ability to decrease the cost of development time is a driving motive for many tech companies to keep allowing their employees to use second source code. Another advantage is the reliability of code that is produced from tutorials, public forums, and websites like GitHub or Stack Overflow. Computer science has recently become a field that no longer requires a college degree for one to excel. According to a study performed by HackersRate in their 2020 Developers Skill Report, 31.9% of developers at small companies do not have a bachelor's degree, 14.9% at large companies, and just 8.6% at massive organizations. This is a result of the large expansive network of resources provided by the convenience of the internet, filled with countless examples of how to get started with projects, step-by-step tutorials, and community platforms like GitHub, where thousands of projects have been posted for review and guidance, allowing for anyone with access to a computer a valuable education at the means of their fingertips. Despite these benefits, there are downfalls of reusable code. Insecure code is a major problem. Stack Overflow has raised concerns over the security of their code in the past couple of years. In a study measuring potential API usage violations by running frequent API usage patterns from GitHub repositories and comparing them with posts on Stack Overflow, researchers found that almost a third of those 217,818 posts contained insecure code that produced program crashes or leaks. Regardless, insecure code is not only an issue with dealing with computer-based forums like Stack Overflow, but it also affects major models like ChatGPT. The way these models work is through pre-training by open source code data. These bits of codes are not always the most secure. They can contain a variation of problems that makes the code vulnerable, including memory safety violations, cross-site scripting, and incorrect API problems. In total, these issues may take more time to fix as a developer, since they are harder to locate due to the machine being a better awareness of how the code runs rather than the developer. Another great risk is legal violations caused by copyright infringements. In the United States, under the Title 17 of the U.S. copyright law, code and software which are automatically covered once they are created are illegal to distribute or copy without the right of the copyright owner. As a result, copyright infringement is a very tricky situation when dealing with online forums. Stack Overflow's guidelines of copyright explain that all user-generated content can be shared and adapted under the Creative Commons Attribute Share-alike unported license. However, the guidelines of attribution to give appropriate credit and share alike if a project is built upon or remixed lists one's contribution under the original must also be respected. Despite this, cases of infringement still occur. A case study analyzing Stack Overflow shows that when comparing 399 Android apps with 1,226 code snippets, there were over 1,279 cases of potential licensing violations. These violations, if brought to legal action, would cause many troubles for developers who are looking for an effortless, quick fix. Altogether, insecure code and licensing violations can wreak a lot of havoc if not handled properly. So, how should we use reusable code? When using reusable code, you should only take snippets or sections of reused code. You should make sure the code comes from a reliable source, and you should check the code's quality by rereading and analyzing for flaws. An important thing to remember is just because there are no compilation errors does not mean that the code is fully secure. The issue with Stack Overflow is explained that the website was designed to be used by upvotes, which is voting posts higher or lower based off of accuracy. However, this system only works if every user is knowledgeable enough about every detail of the shared document, which is hard to do. A solution for forum websites to fortify their systems against insecure or risky codes suggests that adding a new feature to measure the secureness of each forum post. A team of researchers who measured the impacts of copy and paste on Android system security have developed a browser plugin that will determine whether a code snippet falls into the category of secure or insecure. This plugin is a processing pipeline that works by scanning public discussion threads to sift out security-related portions in an Oracle-based approach, and then scores the code snippets through machine learning classifications. This process creates an abstract representation of code snippets, indicating their security, which applied would advance the safety of reusable code. Like all things, there are benefits and negatives of using reused code. The benefits include time and cost efficiency and the wide accessibility of information provided by a quality community. The negatives include insecure code and issues dealing with copyright and licensing infringement. By making sure that developers take the necessary precautions to handle it, like using it in moderation and security checking snippets, reused code is just another efficient resource in the world of software development.